Brought to you by Penguin.
Algospeak. Written and read by Adam Aleksic.
To Kirkland. Introduction. Why your kids are saying unalive. You're a diehard Nirvana fan, and it's the 30th anniversary of Kurt Cobain's suicide. You want to pay your respects, and you heard that Seattle's Museum of Pop Culture is putting on an exhibit to commemorate the lead singer. When you get there, however, you're shocked by the first placard under the display. It doesn't say that your favorite singer killed himself. It doesn't say that he committed suicide. Instead, it tells you that Kurt Cobain unalived himself at 27. Huh. It's understandable if you would have felt upset in this situation. In fact, so many museum visitors were riled up about it that curators were forced to replace the placard a few days after the faux pas went viral. The term unalive seemed to trivialize the topic of suicide, making light of a death still felt by many. Even more jarringly, it represented the first notable offline use of a word made for dodging internet censorship. Unalive might have been surprising to casual museum goers, but by that point it was already quite normal to middle school teachers. That's because, if you spend enough time around 7th and 8th graders, you're virtually guaranteed to hear them use the word as a synonym for kill or commit suicide. It might be a bully in a hallway telling someone to just unalive yourself. It might be an edgy teenager saying they'd rather unalive themselves than clean their room. Or it might even appear in more formal contexts, such as student essays on Hamlet's contemplation of unaliving himself, or classroom discussions on the unaliving that happens in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. These aren't hypothetical situations. Each of those examples was indeed overheard by one of the more than 1,700 middle school parents and teachers that I surveyed while researching this book. It might sound ridiculous to older audiences, but unalive is very much alive. In fact, it's the future of the English language. For a relatively recent word, unalive can be applied to an impressive range of scenarios. It can show up in informal speech, such as the bullying example, or formal speech, such as the Hamlet example. It can occur in ironic or meme contexts. One teacher overheard their students say, "Let's go unalive some sandwiches." Most important, the main function of unalive appears to be euphemistic. Many adolescents use it when they're uncomfortable talking about the concepts of death and suicide, since unalive sounds like a less scary word. While this development has caused much hand-wringing among adults concerned about trivializing suicide, it could very well be positive for mental health education. One 2023 Associated Press article argued that unalive makes it easier for counselors and students to have meaningful discussions over difficult topics, and many of the teachers I talked to echoed this idea. In some cases, students are even learning the word unalive before the word suicide. It's what their classmates are more comfortable saying, and since it gives kids a new way to express themselves, unalive will probably only continue to grow in popularity. It's already begun creeping into more formal educational settings, such as the Hamlet essays or academic discussions on Dr. Jekyll unaliving himself, because students genuinely perceive it as a classroom-safe alternative to its heavier synonyms. In a side placard, the Museum of Pop Culture gave this rationale for using the word. Unalive has sparked constructive conversations, especially among young people, addressing issues such as depression, anxiety, and suicide. In many ways, this is nothing new. We've been euphemizing death as long as we've had language. The verb to decease, for example, comes from decesus, the Latin word for departure, which was introduced as a more agreeable alternative to the existing word for death, mors. Similarly, the verb to die was originally an Old Norse euphemism for the Old English verb sveltan, which was in turn likely also a euphemism for the even older English word duyan, related to die but then forgotten long enough to be reintroduced in a new form. Clearly, even the stoic Romans and fearless Vikings got as queasy about death as modern middle schoolers. It's only because we've constantly been running linguistic circles around our own mortality that we still use phrases like passed away, left this world, and departed. In that regard, unalive is just another step in this ever-evolving process. The crucial difference, however, between unalive and decease, and the reason it came across as so offensive, is the context in which unalive emerged. The word first appeared in its modern verb form in a 2013 episode of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?